Just about. You walk past a large hollowed tree stump, paying it no attention until you notice a thick vine which is tied to its roots and runs up over the edge of the stump. You look inside the hollow stump and see the vine disappearing into the black depths. Let's pull it. As you pull up on the vine into the light, you see that it is crawling with revolting flesh grubs, their blind heads writhing around in search of living flesh in which to burrow. You release the vine, but one of the grubs crawls onto the back of your hand. Fortunately, you manage to pull it off and stamp it underfoot. You gain 1 luck point. You will not find the healer in the tree stump, so you decide to carry on walking up the river valley. To your left, you see a narrow footpath leading from the bank of the river into the trees. Let's go up the footpath. Aha. The footpath twists and turns through the trees before ending outside a wooden hut. You creep up to the hut and look through the window. An old man wearing purple robes and a grey skull cap is asleep in an ornately carved rocking chair. The shelves in the wall behind him are lined with jars of herbs and berries. Yes, I want to enter the fucking hut. When you open the door, one of the man's eyes flicks open. He seems, however, unconcerned at your intrusion and remains stretched out in his rocking chair. I will ask him if he's the healer. The man springs out of his chair and says, "Indeed I am! What ails you, stranger?" You tell the old man about your adventures in the ice caverns and the spell that is slowly destroying you. And says, "Death spells? They are easy to counteract. You just need a jar of my special mixed herbs, a bargain at only 50 gold pieces." You're surprised that the man wants to charge you money to save your life, but he seems quite adamant. Yeah, sure, I'll pay. I've got tons of gold. You open your backpack and reluctantly pay the man 50 gold pieces. Still smiling, he takes a jar from a shelf and pours the contents into a pan of soup, which is simmering on an open fire in his kitchen. He fills a bowl with his herbal remedy and hands it to you, saying, "That should do the job. It'll take about an hour to work, so I suggest you go and lie down in the sun by the river. You'll soon be feeling much better." You gulp down the soup, thank him curtly, and walk back down the footpath to find a spot to rest. Feeling ill, you lie down in the sun and soon fall asleep. You wake up an hour later, but you do not feel any better. In fact, you feel worse. You realise that the man who sold you the herbs was not the healer, but an opportunist sham. The hour you have wasted waiting for the fake remedy to work has cost you dearly. You lose 3 stamina points. Whoops. I figured it was too easy. Much too easy. Let's threaten him. You draw your sword and advance toward the old man, asking him why he is so eager to acquire blood money. You pin him against the wall, holding the point of your sword under his chin, and ask him to explain why a so-called philanthropic healer requires 50 gold pieces for saving a life. The old man starts to tremble and says, "All right, I'm sorry, I'm not the healer. I am only a simple herbalist, down on my luck. I figured that soon you wouldn't be needing your gold anyhow, so you wouldn't mind me having some of it. I realized that it was a foolish thing to do. Listen, you can have some of my own pills that stop my aches and pains. They might help. No charge, of course." With your sword tip still pinning him up against the wall, he reaches into his robes and pulls out a small bottle. He opens it and hands you 3 green pills. You grab the pills and leave the hut, telling the old man that he is lucky to be alive. Outside, you have to decide what to do. I fucking need stamina. I have to take the chance. The herbalist was true to his word. The pills reduce the pain and you feel marginally better. You gain 4 stamina points. Intent on finding the real healer, you walk back down the path and up the river valley. We are on a knife's edge here. You spot a small open space between the rocks and trees on the far bank of the river. Something is cooking over a fire. You can see the smoke rising, but there is no one to be seen. Perhaps they saw you first and are hiding. The river runs fast and is quite narrow at this point. Large rocks jut out over the river, and it would be possible to cross over by leaping from rock to rock. I'm not even sure where we're going anymore. Ooh, hello. Through the trees to your left, you see a tall man with pointed ears and fair hair. He is wearing a green cloak, and he is busy carving arrow shafts with his knife. He is an elf, similar in appearance to Red Swift. I will ask him if he knows where the healer is. The elf asks you why you are looking for the healer. You tell him about your battles in the ice caverns, the death spell, and how poor Red Swift met his end. "Red Swift," cries the elf, "he is my brother." He explains that his name is Ash, and he never knew that his brother had been enslaved by the Snow Witch. — Suddenly, saddened by the news of Red Swift's death, he walks away and stands silently in the sunlight. What? 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 After a few minutes, he says, "I will help you find the healer, but you will have to face him alone, because he will only make contact with the sick. He was disfigured and cursed with disease and pain by the Dark Ones, the evil spirits of the night, for ridding a wizard named Nicodemus of a death spell they had cast on him. Now he practices his work in the solitude of the hills. Follow me, it looks as if we have no time to lose." Ash walks ahead of you, constantly alert for danger. You climb up the valley for an hour before reaching a rope bridge which spans the river. Ash says that you will have to cross the bridge. You tell him that you will have to rest first as the death spell continues to drain your life force. You lose a stamina point. Good thing we get those pills. Later, you tell Ash that you are ready to continue and step on the bridge. You are about halfway across when you suddenly hear voices shouting. You look and see two hill trolls cutting the ropes which secure the bridge You look and see two hill trolls cutting the ropes which secure the bridge to its supports. You hurry as fast as you can toward the far bank. Luck. Lots of luck. You just manage to scramble up onto the far bank as the bridge crashes down into the river. Ash urges you to follow him as quickly as possible along the footpath which leads up the side of the hill away from the bridge. By the time you reach the top of the hill, you are panting very heavily. You lose 1 stamina point. I have 3 left. You are so exhausted that you do not look about you and only hear Ash's warning cry as a death hawk dives down to attack you. Ash fires an arrow at the bird of prey. Ash's skill is 9. Jesus. This is a friggin' slog. Total is same or less than Ash's skill. Ash fires a perfect shot. His arrow pierces the head of the diving Deathhawk. Its wings stop beating and it crashes into the side of the hill. The other side of the hill slopes down into a gorge, and Ash tells you that you must now journey alone to meet the healer. He tells you to walk east up the gorge until you see the head of a phoenix carved into the rock. The healer lies in a cave in the side of the hill above the carved rock. You thank Ash for his help and walk slowly down the hill into the gorge. At the bottom, you follow Ash's instructions and turn left up the gorge. You see a rope ladder hanging down the gorge. Looking up, you can just make out the frame of a wooden hut, almost hidden among the branches. I need to take the chance. As you climb the rope ladder, you hear the noise of shuffling feet on the platform above you. You climb through a hole in the platform, but you are not greeted by the healer. You have intruded into the hideaway of a vicious man-orc. You draw your sword as it reaches for its axe. I can win this. I can win. I only need to hit him 2 more times. 1 more time. There we go. Please have some supplies. The only items, if you can find them, might be of use are a candle and a tinderbox. You take them and climb back down the ladder. Continue. Damn it, he didn't have any food. Continue walking east up the gorge. Man. It's a friggin' death march. I don't understand why they would put this in. It's supposed to be Caverns of the Snow Witch, not march across the plains as you try to avoid a death spell. You walk around a large boulder and see a huge man sleeping in the shade. He is lying on top of some animal skins, snoring loudly. His 2-handed battle axe lies propped up against the boulder. He is a barbarian, and it would be foolish to wake him up, so you decide to tiptoe past him. I have no elven boots, so I guess I can't tiptoe past him. Barbarians are used to people creeping up on them, and the noise of your boots on the stony ground wakes him up. Barbarians also fight first and ask questions later. He jumps up and grabs his battle axe to attack you. Wow, look at that guy. His friggin' skull mask is crazy. He's got like a zillion abs. Oh boy. I do outskill him. However, I can only take 2 hits. Alright, so far so good. Death spell or no death spell? If I test my luck, I think I kind of have to. Okay, good. Because I imagine I'll take another 1 point of stamina. Come on, he has to have some supplies. The barbarian's only interesting possessions are an engraved copper armband and a leather pouch containing 3 silver arrowheads. You take the arrowheads and look at the engraving on the armband. On it, you can just read the words, "Strength is power." Sure, let's put it on. The armband is charmed with magical power. You gain 1 skill point. You realise that you must hurry on up the gorge before the death spell runs its fatal course. To your right, you see a huge slab of rock. Carved into it is the head of a fabulous bird surrounded by flames. Rough steps lead up the side of the rock slab to the mouth of the cave. So to get to the healer, we have to go up. But out of just morbid interest, let's go into the cave. Holy shit, monkeys. Peering into the cave, you see that it runs deep into the side of the hill. Torches cast an eerie light inside the cave, illuminating wooden carvings and masks that are hanging on the walls. You step inside and see a robed figure sitting on the floor with its back to you. Without turning round, the mysterious person says, "I am the healer. If you have come to be healed, stand before me now." Your heart beats faster as you walk over to stand in front of him. Before you is a man who is horribly disfigured. His body is terribly twisted, but he sits there proudly, although the pain registers on his face. You tell him that you have been cursed with a death spell and have come to be cured. The healer nods his head and says, "The power of death spell is difficult to destroy. I have only managed to break it once, and it wasn't easy. A ritual has to be performed which you might not survive. Still, you must try. I will help you as much as I can. First, you must place a mask of life over your face to halt the spread of the death spell. If you survive the initial battle between life and death, you'll be able to face the second stage of the reversal process." Huh. I guess maybe he's not in his hut above, I guess, or something? The healer then takes a strange mask off the wall, carved to symbolize the sun. As you place it over your face, you feel as though your body is being torn apart. Result is subtracted from your stamina score. So I need to roll... It's actually not physically possible. Oh no, roll 1 die, so I need to roll a 1. That's not a 1. It's also not a 1. Let's go... is it this one or is it the next one back? Okay, let's go up. You finally reach the end of the gorge and wonder where to head next. The effect of this one is this. I should not have taken those unnecessary hits, should I? No, no siree. No siree, Bob. Okay, enter the cave. Flip that shit. Okay, so I just need to roll a 1. That's not a 1. Wait, why couldn't I spend some of my gold to buy provisions in those friggin' towns we walked through? Still not a 1. My chances of rolling a 1 are increasing, statistically speaking. It's still 1 in 6, but the chances of me not rolling 1 so many times in a row, you know. There we go. Alright. We freaking survive. Ooh, what the hell's that? Is that a fly? We are still alive. The healer walks over to you and puts his hands on your forehead. He mutters some strange words and stands back, saying, "Later stages of the reversal process are also dangerous, but the danger can be reduced if you possess certain things. My help from now on will be limited, as you will have to journey to another place to break the death spell completely. Please follow me." The healer walks further into the cave, leading you to the edge of a pit. There is almost no light, and you have to strain your eyes to see the outline of the healer moving about. A log spans the pit before you, and you must cross it to reach the inner cave. It will obviously be easy to cross it if you can see where you are going. "Do you have a candle?" asked the healer. "I do." You light the candle and look across the pit. It is about 15 meters wide, and the log is quite narrow. The healer tells you to walk across it as soon as you are ready. Okay, so we should be able to pass this. Yeah, good. Walking slowly and carefully, you reach the other side of the pit. Much to your relief, the healer walks casually across the log as though the pit was not there. Good, he says. Now you must prepare yourself for the next stage. In order to survive, you must be totally calm. If you have a dragon's egg, I can make you a relaxing concoction. So, dragon's egg rather than the teeth. The healer shakes his head and warns you that the next stage is going to be very difficult for you. He then tells you to walk ahead of him. Oh, shoot, biddy boot, look at that thing. You suddenly hear a woman howling terribly in the depths of the cave. Her mournful wail rises to a horrible, bitter scream. The healer whispers to you that the cries come from a banshee, a hideous spectre whose face and hands are shriveled, and who only has one large nostril and a single tooth. He tells you that if you walk by her without fear, you will come to no harm. Do not speak to her, touch her, or even acknowledge her presence. She cannot harm you if you obey my instruction. I'll be right behind you, but do not worry about me, the healer says calmly. You walk further into the cave until the dreaded banshee comes into view. She looks even worse than the healer's description, with her red-rimmed eyes and stooping posture. You try to remain calm, but feel the blood racing through your veins. She stands immediately in front of you as you try to walk by, letting out the most doom-laden howl you have ever heard in your life. You are tempted to look into her face and cut her down with your sword. We have not. You instinctively clutch the hilt of your sword as the healer's words of warning echo through your mind. Skill is reduced by 2 for this roll due to the difficulty of the task. That's still pretty good, though. Our skill is pretty ridiculous. That'll do. I'm just waiting for that next take 1 fucking stamina point, because we are on the edge. Between her screams, the banshee tells you that you are going to die. You clutch the hilt of your sword tighter and remember the healer's words, to not fear her. Taking a few breaths to calm yourself, you manage to resist the temptation to draw your sword to silence her, and manage to pass by her unharmed. The healer is right behind you, urging you to hurry through the cave. You walk on in silence until you see sunlight streaming through a crack at the end of the cave. You see that the crack is just wide enough for you to squeeze through, and you ask the healer what and will happen next. He calmly replies, "This is as far as I go. The final part of your ordeal you must face alone. Wearing your mask, you must be at the summit of Firetop Mountain before dawn to watch the sunrise. You must sit cross-legged facing east. You will be totally cured the moment the first rays of sunlight come up over the horizon. If you have something made of silver, we will be able to attract a Pegasus to fly you there." Awesome. Motherfucking Pegasus! Look at that thing! It's even got a freaking goatee. Ah. You hand the healer your silver object. He throws it through the crack and whistles loudly through his fingers. A few moments later you hear the noise of flapping wings outside and see the healer smile briefly. "Tie the silver to its mane and command it to take you to Firetop Mountain," says the healer. "A Pegasus will fly you anywhere for silver. This is where we say goodbye. Good luck. I hope you make it." You shake the healer's hand, thanking him over and over again. Then, waving goodbye, you squeeze through the crack into the daylight. Before you stands a magnificent beast. It looks like a white stallion, but it has wings. You tie the silver to its mane and climb onto its back. You shout your destination, and suddenly you are flying through the air, clinging to the neck of the mighty Pegasus. Yugi boy! It is not long before you reach the mountain and land safely on the summit, which is covered in strange red vegetation. You jump down from the Pegasus and watch it fly into the distance. You sit down to rest and wait for sunrise. He said the mask would halt the progress of the disease. Please don't be a lying scumbag. The red leaves all around you emit a sweet smell which you find very pleasant. You feel very relaxed and suddenly have trouble keeping your eyes open, even though it is only early evening. You are unaware that you are lying on sleeping grass. You sink into a deep sleep full of vivid and exciting dreams. Night falls and time passes by, but you cannot wake up. The moon drifts slowly across the clear night sky until dawn is only minutes away. A tiny image disturbs your dreams, but it is difficult to make out. It grows steadily larger until the flashing image fills your mind. A bird with a long beak and fine plumage is trying to fly out of the circle of flames. The healer is trying to wake you. If you can focus your mind and remember the name of this bird, which is the symbol of the healer's power, your dreams will end and you'll be able to rouse yourself. Well, it's definitely a phoenix. The image of the bird fills your mind. While you are still asleep, you sit up and shout the word "Phoenix" at the top of your voice. You wake up, startled, wondering why it is dark. Then you realise that you have been asleep for hours and that the sun will rise at any moment. Adjusting your sun mask... life mask, I think it means. Or is it? I don't know, maybe we changed masks. You turn to face east, hardly daring to blink in case you miss the first rays of sunshine. A red glow appears on the horizon, and then you see the sun slowly creep into view. You are cured of the death spell. This has got to be the end. Jeez. This is the beginning of a beautiful day. A day which is probably going to be the most enjoyable of your life. The spirit of the evil Snow Witch has been destroyed, and you are cured of her terrible curse. As you climb down the mountain, you think about the kind, unselfish healer, and of your friends, Redswift and Stub. You're suddenly eager to meet the jolly old dwarf again and set off towards Stonebridge as fast as you can, hoping that he will have returned from Darkwood Forest. You have earned yourself a welcome rest, although whether or not you will get it is another story. The end. Holy crap, that just went on. I mean, Forest of Doom, yeah, you get to the end and then you can just loop round again. But that was just like, holy bonky, donkey wonky. I didn't even get to spend the gold. Still, that will do it for Caverns of the Snow Witch. Ah, man, it's always hard doing these ones where you have to talk for a very long time. I recorded this in like, well, I recorded this on the same day in bursts of like a couple of hours. Because Forest of Doom was 4 episodes, I think. Whereas this is probably going to be closer to 7, maybe 8. But still, that's all from Caverns of the Snow Witch. Much like with the Forest of Doom, if you want me to pick through and complete all these, because there's a whole load of achievements that you can get. If you want me to go through and get all of them, there we go. Feel free to leave what's this? Oh, I see. Feel free to go through and leave a comment. But until next time, I'm Raven, and that is all from Caverns of the Snow Witch.